Hello and welcome to another episode of Chatting with Slava the Jordanian. I'm your host, STJ, as many of you know me through Instagram and my social media platforms. Today, I would like to tap into identifying what femininity means to me and what an Arab woman looks like through my belief system. And as a 19-year-old Jordanian that was born and raised in Saudi Arabia and left Saudi at age 19, becoming a female American Jordanian immigrant, it did change a lot of the views that I had, what the traditional Arab woman should be, according to the traditional gender role expectations that my society built into my belief system. And I hope this makes sense. And as you know, this podcast is all about mastering an unlimiting mindset by eliminating limited beliefs. And when we leave our home world and displace ourselves by default or by design into a new world, looking for the proof that would match our belief system that this journey is supposed to be better for us, for our well-being, for our personality thriving in a different circumstances and certain a different environment into the new world. So, but I want to go back and share with you guys my understanding of what a woman is as an Arab. And the data and the facts that I have found explaining the origin of the word even woman, in order to break it down to a humanitarian level as much as I can. So, as I spoke about in so many other episodes, that when we displace ourselves by default or by design, pursuing happiness, pursuing better environment, freeing ourselves from the shackles of some of the social pressures that some of us as females in some societies are living with on daily basis. My story is all about escaping 3 arranged marriages, and I need to clarify the difference between an arranged marriage and forced marriage. An arranged marriage, from my understanding, and you guys can be the judge of both of concepts. Arranged marriages is when the families on both sides, the suitor and the bride, come together, or they know each other for a very, very long time, and they believe that the match will benefit both families. And what they do at this point is just coordinating both figures in a certain circumstance to get together, hoping to have a interaction, then have a connection, then hopefully grow into a relationship, what we call marriage. So what happened is the parents get together, they know each other, the families know each other for a long, long time, and that's typically what happens. And the boy and the girl, to a certain point, they know about each other, but they don't have the interaction, the private, intimate interaction that would result in the connection to create a relationship. So basically they get together and they said, okay, this is a really good idea. I like your son, you like my daughter, and let's create the environment where they can sit together and flourish, hopefully, to make that connection. If it works, awesome. Everybody's happy. If it doesn't work, they just move on. Now, forced marriage is a little bit different. Forced marriage is basically a marriage that, my understanding, is a marriage that will benefit one side of the parties. Meaning that if I am a mother that has a daughter, and I believe that if my daughter would marry so-and-so's son, that would benefit the rest of the family because she might get money, or she might get property, or she might get social status, hoping that my daughter will pass that privilege and that benefit to the rest of her family, like her brothers, like her sister, like her father. So there is a personal gain behind that forced marriage. Whether the boy or the girl disagree to the match, the families will do anything and everything that they can in order to make that marriage happen, because of the financial, like I said, social status benefit that both families can have. I didn't have forced marriage. I had arranged marriage. Basically, the two side families got together and tried to set me up in order to meet that specific person, because they believed that that would be a good match for me. Now, I was 17, 18, 19. Every year from 17 to 19 years old, I had a proposal, and it was arranged between the two families. As the two families agreed, then they informed me that there is a potential suitor that will make you happy. Now, believe it or not, I had a specific belief system that things as far as love and marriage and choosing your soulmate and life partner, it should happen naturally and organically without a setup. Because I believe that if humans are trying to interfere to set up a certain order of interaction, connection, and relationship, then these people that they're involved in arranging it all, they must have an agenda that they want to satisfy. And they are gonna conduct the whole process to fit into their narrative. So there's alternative motive to that setup. And I don't believe in that, because I believe that marriage or a commitment or life partnership has to do with only the two people that they are involved in that relationship and nobody else. When too many people are involved, other than just wishing you the best and wishing you happiness, then it becomes a very selfish process that's only going to benefit that person that trying to interfere or get involved, making sure that the match happens, making sure that the interaction and the connection and the relationship ends up in marriage. So I didn't believe in that. So obviously I said no, and the first time, and I said no the second time, and I said no the third time. And I am so fortunate that I have met my soulmate, and we've been happily married almost 33 years now. It hasn't been a very easy ride, just like everything else and everybody else, but you learn as you go. So I took that, which back then I didn't really realize that I have mastered an unlimited mindset and eliminated the limited beliefs, which was part of the traditional gender role expectations that our society, conservative society, imposes on us, or sometimes even passively teaches us, and constantly reminding us of our responsibility and duty as a female gender towards your family, towards your community, towards your custom and your tradition. I hope this makes sense. So this is what I'm going to talk about in this episode. And I'm going to give you my experience, telling you my stories, and sharing with you my lessons. Hopefully, some of you that is going through a process like that, whether it is, egalitarian setup, but you do have somebody in your life that's putting a little bit of pressure on you to move forward with a relationship that you don't truly feel or believe that it is the best relationship for you. Take your time, shop around, talk to people, travel, and you will find love. You will find that soulmate. But some people are not even meant to settle down. Some people are such free-spirited people that they are okay just to meet people, just to have acquaintances, relationships, friendships, partners, without dressing it up with the traditional, gender role expectation and gender role duties. So it's okay not to end up being married. It's okay not to end up having a partner for decades. It's okay as long as you're healthy, as long as you're safe, as long as you're happy. And that's okay. That's the mindset that I had when I left my home world into the new world. I kept telling myself that if I don't find my soulmate, it's okay. I will adopt a way of life that will satisfy me without having a life partner. I might create my own tribe of friends that will support me and help me survive through my challenges and thrive within my own belief system. Because I believe our belief system is the navigator, and it constitutes how we conduct ourselves. So my belief system was, it's okay if I didn't find my soulmate. It's okay if I never get married. But if I come across that person, I am willing and I'm open to give it a shot and to give it a chance and consider that. But I didn't limit myself in a way that either I get married or I'm going to be miserable. Either I get married or I'm going to feel that I betrayed my traditional gender role expectations from my family, my society, my culture. It's okay not to be married. It's okay not to have a permanent partner or a permanent person in my life. And let's see what happens. So I kept an open mind about the possibilities that it might not be for me. It might not be written in the stars, like some of us will say. So, and it ended up okay. But if I have limited myself and I put a lot of pressure on myself just to satisfy and make others happy, make others proud of me instead of me proud of myself, yeah, I would have definitely been a very wealthy, privileged wife and mother. But that wasn't enough for me. I wanted to challenge myself and see if I can do it for myself instead of relying on somebody else to do it for me. But that's just my personality. I am an IC. I'm an extroverted, people-oriented, but also I am a introverted in so many ways, task-oriented too. So the two combinations, and again, back then I didn't know that I had those characteristics until I became a dentist, worked with the public, business owner, teaching, coaching, learning from my lessons and my mistakes. And with trial and error, I discovered myself in so many, I believe, better ways to make me a better person. And here I am standing in front of a camera telling you guys all about it. So my train of thoughts is I always try to go to the basics. I always try to take a concept or a terminology and break it down to its original definition. So what I didn't go down the rabbit hole. I try not to. What I did is I said to myself that what is the origin of the word woman? So in Latin, let's go back to human, because I like to think that humanity is the umbrella of all definitions when it comes to identity, when it comes to defining the beliefs that we have. So human, when it goes back to Latin, it is humanus. Humanus means man, earth. In Germanic language, it means man or person. So it went from Latin to German, and that made me conclude that human means person of earth, whether it's a male or a female. So that's the first thing, okay? So it is person of earth, basically the person that lives on earth, conduct themselves in a way that by embracing everything that earth gives us, vegetation, hunting, gathering, building, shelter, that is what human means. It is basically person of earth. Now, woman, the origin of the word woman is from Old English, which it used to be wefman. And wefman is basically a wife person, or from a womb man, basically person of earth that has a womb, because women are able to have children. So we are created with a womb inside of us. So woman is basically a man, which is person of earth that has a womb. But also from Old English, wolfman, which is wife, derivative of that terminology, is basically a wife person, wolfman, not man. So these are the fascinating things that I like when I end up researching some of the concept. That's breaking it down, going back to basics. That's the origin of the word. Now, depending whether you like to use that word or use that word to refer to something else, that is totally up to you. But that's the origin of the actual English language that reference woman. Okay, so I would like to share something else with you guys that my social media mentor had taught me about a year or 18 months ago. And I love this definition of what a woman meant to her and her role in society. And it made sense to me because I feel like my Arab culture, my Arabian heritage really fits into this description very, very, very well, and I like to share it with you. So a humble woman has the innate dignity that comes from a respect of herself, respect of others, and the respect of the space that she occupies. Okay, a woman basically the humble woman has an innate dignity that comes from the respect of herself, respect of others, and the respect of the space that she occupies. And it's funny, when she told me that, it just light bulb in my head. And I remember my mom always telling me that, Slava, as long as you conduct yourself with high level of respect towards each other, towards yourself, and whatever that you are trying to do, whether you want to be a dentist or she wanted me to go to school for art history and travel the world and visit the museums for the rest of my life. My dad wanted me to be a fashion designer. She goes, whatever you decide you want to do, whatever you decide that, whenever you decide whether you're going to get married and when to get married and who you're going to end up marrying, make sure that you keep that respect intact. And funny, years ago, 37 years later, this was years ago, so 37 years later, I meet my social media mentor, and she says that to me. And I couldn't help but think that this is exactly what my mom tried to say all these years. But of course, I was busy. I was a teenager. I'm trying to wrap things up and leave home and come to the United States and figure out what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, and why am I doing it. But that it's really stuck with me. And it's funny how the universe works, that my mom all her life tried to explain that to me. And then not until I got into public speaking and podcasting and, 18 months ago, when I just started to think about going on camera, speaking to you guys, my mentor says that to me. And I think it's very rich, it's very powerful, and very, very impactful definition or description of what a woman is in society as far as I'm concerned. So now, going back to Saudi, when I left, in 1988, I came to the United States, rejecting, escaping 3 arranged marriages, not forced marriages, just 3 arranged marriages. Obviously, I came packing that belief system that I had learned from, early years until I left home. When I came to the United States wasn't a foreign land or a foreign custom or a foreign a tradition, expectation, because we traveled a lot and we vacationed in the United States every single year from age 7 up to age 17. Then I came to the United States for college because I spent 2 years or a year and a half in Saudi, try to acclimate into the Saudi education system college-wise, but I couldn't take it anymore. I wasn't going anywhere, so I decided to just leave. And I said, okay, I tried it. Now I know that this is not for me. I'm going to execute my plan of coming to the United States. But it's funny, you carry with you that belief system, and what I did, I took the good and I dropped the not so good. Basically, I kept what made sense to me from that belief system, carry it with me to the United States. And of course, it was modified, it was upgraded, it was updated. Every 5 years, I would go through this phase of almost rebirth, almost that, you know, those values and those beliefs, they're not serving me anymore. But at the same time, it was so hard for me to make the decision to change them or upgrade them, because I couldn't help but feel so guilty that I am discarding my heritage beliefs. And I felt like I have been betraying my family by letting go of those beliefs. Those are beliefs that I grew up with, that I was born into, that, you know, made me who I am up to age 19. How dare I drop those beliefs? And then when I met my life coach, she told me, stop traumatizing yourself and tormenting yourself. It's okay. We are not asking you to get rid of all these beliefs, but we're asking you to modify them so they can serve you in a better way as you are embarking into a different stage in your life. And that took a while to actually settle in and believe that, yeah, it is true. I'm not just getting rid of my heritage. I'm just modifying some of the belief system because was stagnant. I wasn't getting anywhere. And I always say stagnation stinks. Running water, fresh water, always healthier than just stagnation. So I had to move on. But it doesn't change the fact that it was a struggle. And if you're going through that phase because you are trying to simulate yourself in a new society as a female, as an immigrant, it's hard. It's hard to decipher because you are going through life every single day and you're too busy and you don't have even time to stand still to try to figure out what the heck is going on with me. Why am I acting that way? Why am I so frustrated? These belief systems been with me all my life. Why now? Why now? Because you are maturing, you are changing, you are adapting into a new culture and a new society. You need new tools. And the way I put it is, we are wired in a certain way when we leave home. Just like when you have a new iPhone, and if the plug doesn't fit, you need an adapter. That is exactly the same concept. When we leave our home world with a set of belief system, we are wired in that belief system. In order to assimilate or acculturate into a new society, it's almost you need that adapter to plug yourself into the new society. That adapter, it's going to change every 5 years. Take it from me, from my experience, every 5 years, even my personality and my priorities have changed. So you need to be mindful, or we need to be mindful, that that adapter is going to change every 5 years. We change phones every 2 years. And I'm not very tech savvy, so don't judge me on my accuracy as far as that. But I hope you guys are getting what I'm trying to say, that adapter has to change because your wiring is going to change every 5 years. The fundamental principles of who you are and how you conduct yourself is always going to be there. You're just building on it, you're modifying it, or you're upgrading it so it can serve you a little bit better with the new challenges that come across as you are growing into your new home or new world. So, because I left home, I was 19 years old. I am 55 years old, dentist, business owner, a wife, an employer. That is completely different than the 19-year-old that left home. The 19-year-old that left home had one purpose and one focus, is to go to dental school and become a dentist. If the husband comes along and everything is well, then yes, I'll get married, but I'm not gonna have that stop me from achieving my goal, because I left everybody that I love and everything that I know behind to pursue that dream and to execute that goal. But that's just me, that's my personality. So I had the mindset when I left home that if the husband comes along, if I meet the love of my life, then that's fine. Yes, I will get married because I'm going to be happy, because I don't want to be alone, because it completes me in a certain way. But I'm not going to let it interfere with the plan that I left home for. Went to dental school, graduated from dental school, became a partner, became a business owner. That things had to change because I never owned a business in my life, and dentistry is the only job that I ever had, because my dad believed that as long as you are in school, you don't work, because his fear, because that's his belief system, that when the money runs through your hands, you are going to forget about school. And he used to tell me, I did not work so hard to get you into school for you to work while you're in school. You got the rest of your life to work. I want you to focus and finish schooling. And that's what I did. I had one job in the law school at Case Western, and somehow my brother found out. I kept it a secret. I didn't even tell anybody. It was part-time. But my dad called me one day, and my dad never calls. All the way from Saudi. I was in Cleveland. And I said, hi, what's going on? He said, how's school? My dad doesn't do introductions. And I said, school is fine. He goes, I'm going to ask you one more time. How was school? And I said, Dad, school is fine. Then he goes, okay, I need you to quit your job. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And he said, I just need work experience so I can put it in my resume so I can go get into dental school. That's one of the requirements that they had. He said, I don't care. I'm not paying for you to go to school for you to work. You're in school as a student, you do your school work, and that's it. And you got the rest of your life to work. So, of course, I had to quit because it's my dad. And I never had a job. I volunteered in a public dental clinic when I was married at UC Davis, just to have some kind of experience and put it on my resume. But dentistry is the only job I ever had. So all what I'm saying is, when I became a partner, I went from associate to partner. Becoming an associate, you have the responsibility of taking care of patients. I had to review my belief system right there and then. Then when I became a partner, I wasn't a sole owner of that business. I had to share everything, the business, with somebody else. I had to learn how to do that. And as I'm learning how to do that, I had to change my belief system. I left, I started my own brand. I became a sole owner. I did not have a partner to fall back on if I am stuck or if I am in a pickle. So I had to learn how to do that. And again, I had to review my belief system and change that a little bit. Added and subtracted, added, subtracted. Now, mind you, through that process, I kept my fundamental principle, beliefs, and values. That did not change. I just built upon them and modified them a little bit without feeling that I'm stripping my roots and I don't want anything to do. And some people do that. I want nothing to do with my previous world or my home world. I want a whole brand new identity, the way of life, the way of thinking, and a whole new belief system. I did not do that. You can have a hybrid. You can keep your traditional way of doing things, or you can just completely rebuild a whole identity, basically, and belief system. Then the brand happened, and then, it got bigger. first practice, second practice, third practice, then that's franchise, then public speaking, then podcasts. So I had to look at myself and recheck myself and review myself in a very different capacity from 1988 when I left at age 19. And the what and the why and the how also changes too. Again, the principle and the foundation is still the same. I am still Slava and Nabulsi, the daughter of Sheikh Nabulsi, the Palestinian father, the Jordanian mother, who was born and raised in Saudi Arabia, that has 4 siblings, but in a different capacity. So the core values are still there, but I have other values that I use as tools as I perform in a very different capacity these days. When I am home with my 4 cats, I am just Slava. When I'm with my husband, I am his life partner, Slava. When I'm at work, I'm Dr. Slava. When I am talking to you guys on the podcast, I am STJ. So it's almost you create 3 or 4 different hats to wear in order to conduct yourself within that capacity or in the scope of your new roles, basically. So again, there is the traditional role, gender expectations. Those are fine as long as they are safe and they're healthy, they're not oppressing you, they're not suppressing you. You have to respect that. I have to respect that. We need to respect that because that's our heritage. As immigrant, you can never strip yourself from that. Even if you completely revamp your belief system, you're always going to go back to that fundamental principles in certain situation and pull something out of that, which is okay. So doing that, you are definitely mastering an unlimiting mindset by eliminating limited beliefs. The limited beliefs, you can keep those beliefs intact, but if they are limiting you to achieve what you're trying to achieve, to get things done that you sacrifice everything for, then you have to review those beliefs. They can be limiting. You can actually name them or tag them as limited belief now. They might not be limited or limiting back then, but they're limiting now because your role in society, your role within your family, your role within your career have changed. Your responsibilities have changed. Your expectations have changed. Your duty has changed. So the values and beliefs that they helped you or guided you to get to this point might not have been very limiting back then, but now they are. If you come to the conclusion that they are and they're keeping you from achieving what you're trying to achieve, then you have to tuck them to the side, package them, put them away like your winter sweaters, and bring out the values that will serve you better in order to achieve what you need to achieve. Now, that said, the pressure on women in my society has changed. The pressure on women in my time was sometimes unreasonable. And to be honest with you, it was unfair because, especially in my family, they did not directly say that you have to do this. They just raised us in a way that if I say no, I don't want to do that, I would feel the guilt. I would feel that I betrayed my heritage. It's just the expectation. If you don't meet certain expectations, they're going to look at you in a different light. And I didn't want that. So it really depends on how conservative your society is and how traditional your family environment was. It could be very damaging to your personality and to your even spirituality. Some people that I've known, they just left Saudi Arabia and they are completely different people. They don't even admit that they're Arab. They don't admit they are even Muslim. They just don't, because they have been traumatized, unfortunately, with forcing and reinforcing those traditional gender role expectations to the point that their life was threatened if they don't comply and if they don't submit to these expectations. And that's very, very sad. I had a couple of my high school friends that they ended up coming to the United States to go to school, and they refused to come back, and the family disowned them. So to me, that doesn't make sense. That's not a win-win situation. It's one-sided situation. And that situation, it's like the family name, the family reputation. If you don't want to contribute to making your family proud and submit to that, then we want nothing to do with you. And that's just not fair. Why can't you accept that person for whom they are and trying to work with them? But it is unfortunate. It does happen. I've seen it happen, and I lost my friends because of that, because, they didn't want to even stay in touch with me, because if they stayed in touch with me, then they feel that they're going to relapse. They're going to get so nostalgic about coming home, and to them coming home or thinking of home or going back to these values or that belief system, it's very traumatizing. It's almost like PTSD for them. So again, it's a sacrifice that I had to make because I wanted them to be happy, and I didn't want to put the guilt trip on them by saying that, I'm not your family, I have nothing to do with it, I'm just your friend. But to them, there is that emotional, like I said, nostalgic connection. If they continued their relationship with me, they were so scared that I would relate that information, their well-being, their status, where they are, to their family, and then they're going to come after them. But that's just the one extreme end of the story. The other extreme end, I'm an example of it. I achieved what I needed to achieve without, damaging my relationship with my family, because my family was very supported. As long as they saw me thriving, surviving, healthy, happy, they said, okay, I guess she's right. I guess she knows, or she knew what she was doing. And, I am very, very grateful and thankful, very blessed that I became successful. So again, mastering an unlimited mindset by eliminating limited beliefs, it's not a one-time thing. If I would give you guys an advice, is check yourself every 5 years, because study shows that every 5 years you are constantly changing character in your character, in your personality, in your expectations, in your demands, what you need from life, and because life changes constantly. And as they say, a lot of not good things happen in life, then good things happen in life. And those moments are basically, I use them as a lesson in order to review and redesign my belief system. Because again, our belief system constitutes how we conduct ourselves. It is the navigator. It is the compass to where we're going and how we're going to deal with certain things. One of the things that I advise for anybody that is planning to leave their home world into the new world, try to figure out what kind of personality you are. Learn how to have a high level of self-awareness, not social awareness. Don't worry about social awareness in the beginning. Self-awareness first. Are you extroverted or introverted? Are you task-oriented or are you people-oriented? Because if you do not figure that out and have a good understanding of whom you are, you won't be able to figure out where you're going, why you're going, what you're trying to do, and how you're going to do it. And every 5 years, that, characteristic can change, depending on, like I said, the capacity that you are trying to put yourself in society. And what kind of society? Are you going from an extremely conservative society to within the same world? Are you just migrating, or you are immigrating? Are you completely pulling yourself from that culture, from that society, from that belief system into a whole new adapted society? Or are you just migrating? Are you modifying a little bit? You're going from a small village that everybody knows everybody, very conservative, into more a city, a modern city within your realm, within your language, within your religion, within your background, within your social expectations, but just it's a little bit modified, a little bit modern, so you are trying, so you can have less pressure of that, traditional role, gender role expectations that your own village or your own town practices, with a very, very high level of, consciousness that this is the only way, or this is the right way, because we need to keep the society intact. We can't deviate beyond that belief system. So I'm just sharing this with you because lately I have been approached by so many of my team members that female, minority immigrants, American immigrants, that, they've been asking me about, how did you do it? How did you navigate through this new world and got to achieve what you have achieved, where I am struggling just to, make ends meet. So I decided to do this episode in order to send it out there, tell my story, and give you some of the lessons that I have learned and the concept that I believe in and I grew to adapt and become really like I said, my constitution, my spiritual constitution, my behavioral constitution, mental, emotional, and don't ever think it's easy. It's not easy. If it's easy, we'll never learn. And like I say all the time, the only way we grow is if we know we grow. And I always ask my patients when they come for the cleanings, how was your experience? Because life is all about experiences, right? And that's why we leave our home world to have a better experience, to have a different experience, to have a new experience. That's what humanity is always striving for, a new experience, because we are very curious beings. So I always ask my patient, how was your visit today? Great, Dr. Slava, everything is awesome. And then I ask them, is there anything that we can do to make experience better next time? Oh, everything is perfect. All right, well, let us know, because that's the only way we grow. If we don't know, we don't grow. So I would like to thank you guys for tuning in, listening, or watching this episode, because I'm very passionate about leaving behind as many experiences and as many stories as I can for you guys, to inspire you, to guide you, hopefully, to help you navigate through this world. This world is, to me, it's unrecognizable. Like I said, I came to the United States in 1988. It's 2025. Even in dentistry, things are moving so fast, changing, developing, improving so fast that sometimes I can't even wrap my head around it. But from an immigration point of view, this country have changed so much, and the belief system, the fundamental principles are still there, but the belief systems right now have changed. And I think in a good way, because now you have a plethora of options to believe in and use them as a tool in order to help you adapt and help you manage into the new world, where probably in the 70s and the 80s, the choices were very limited. But right now we have unlimited options to create, upgrade, modify our belief system in order to help us achieve what we were trying to achieve when we, as an immigrant, as a female immigrant, when we left our home world, coming into the new world. And like I always said, it's all about mastering an unlimited mindset by eliminating limited beliefs. So thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I am your host, STJ, and this is Chatting with Slava the Jordanian. It is a series on the mindset mastery moments. And please remember that these episodes are uploaded every single week on Wednesdays on all social media platforms, including Apple and Spotify. And also we are on YouTube, and it's available for you guys to watch and listen to wherever you are, whenever you are. And please, please, please try to leave any comments, any questions, because I would love to hear from you guys to find out what would you like to talk about, what would you like me to discuss, any topics that you would like me to elaborate on, because this cannot happen without you. So thank you so much again, and I hope you guys tune in next time. This is Slava the Jordanian.